Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome back to the Liberal Artist Podcast. Fuck. I'm your host, Bodio, and with me I have Andy Gibby Gibson and Kaylee Horowitz.
Okay, all right, sorry.
I thought we were just going to start the episode with a death immediately.
We're starting
Gibby
off
and I
on
were gonna have to take over.
We're starting off on the wrong foot here because, like, I was thinking to myself, what's my little non sequitur that I have to come up with real quick? And then
now you're on the spot.
No, I'm not on the spot because Bo erased the spot. He was just like, the hand erased this thing.
Listen, last episode we got Bodio is overworked and exhausted. This episode we get Bodio is sick again and high on Benadryl.
Okay.
Woo!
All right. That's a fun mix, at least.
I don't think it is.
For your
not for
sake,
you.
we hope it is.
It's
Loyal listeners.
It's funny because, hold on.
As he takes
Water
a sip
break.
from his gallon water bottle.
Hell yeah, brother. Liter and a half.
Jesus, I could hear that past the Discord noise filter.
It's funny
Can
because
clock somebody with one of those.
Home defense.
there's a video going around where some white lady on Twitter has said something along the lines that she's made a sick day mocktail. And
Oh,
she
no,
has-
I know this.
Oh, yeah. She
Uh-oh.
has a cup of ice. She puts Jolly Ranchers in there. She then fills it with Sprite and then fills that Sprite with cough syrup. And the most retweeted line is, did they just gentrify lean?
Yes, they did.
Bet they did.
They called it like Sleepy Girl Mocktail, and it's like,
Yeah.
Sleepy girl.
It's one of those things I would be convinced
you had me with you. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like Jolly Ranchers, Sprite. Okay, we're gonna add some juice. We're gonna add, oh no, okay.
No, I would be convinced
No.
that this was somebody who literally think they invented something new, if not for the inclusions of Jolly Ranchers specifically.
This is like related, but not the same as far as like sickness. But
So
like
this one time I was high on lean. No.
I swear to
On a
God,
Sleepy
there are
Girl
these
mocktail.
people. There are these people online. I don't know where they come from. I don't know if they are deliberately like rage farming, but it's these like make this like mixed drink like cocktail thing or like recipe at home, and it's just like throwing the most ungodly shit together in like a takeaway casserole like tin dish that you just throw out. They just put shit in it that makes no fucking sense, or like meat that's not cooked and they just like throw it in with all the other ingredients and then just like put that all in the oven and go, yep, cover it with 3 to 7 blocks of cheddar cheese for some reason. Like, I don't know if it's like a kink, a fetish, a whatever, or just rage farming. I fucking hate it.
Oh, you're so mad at me right now. I love
Well, there are
that.
some
Don't
people that
ever
do
do
these
that
like
again.
decorating like it was cakes. It was cakes with that like icing drip kind of stuff where they just like fill it up, and it was part of this people going like, yeah, this is all part of like in public view but kind of discreetly hidden edging kinks. Surprise.
Okay.
But like it's
So it's
just
that kind
weird
of
shit
episode,
that I'm
huh?
like, who is actually consuming this? Are you just finding whatever the hell you can in your kitchen and reliving the days in 3rd grade when you'd put all the shit at your lunch table together and dare somebody to eat it? Is that what's happening here?
I think
Yeah, man.
there's just a significant portion of things like TikTok and Facebook video that are all about min-maxing the algorithm of like, I am going to force you to wait 5 minutes to watch my dumbass
Absolutely.
recipe or my dumb craft, and I will get all the ad revenue because of it. Like, there was one that I watched yesterday that was just them doing like a tomato hack or something like that.
What does that mean?
Yeah. For a full minute.
I'm in.
It
hacking
was-
the tomato.
they chopped the tomato while leaving in the bit with the stem and the bad bites, and a
The
full
bad
minute
bites.
of it was just them placing the tomato into the dish. You know, the thing that's
Yeah.
normally 5 seconds and sped up like 1,000 times or so.
Yeah.
And then they salted it, And they put it in the oven, and that was it. Yep. And I was just like, you've wasted precious seconds of time. Within that time, I could have, I don't know, come up with all of the answers. I wouldn't have, but maybe I could have. Like, you don't know. We can't know because you wasted it.
Gibby, Kaylee, you both are on TikTok. How often do you succumb to sunk cost fallacy? Where you're like, I'm here, and I'm just going to keep
I catch
watching the
myself
video.
a lot, but it is those videos that make me remember you're just gamifying this, and I know that you are, and so it does kind of help snap me out of it if I've like just kind of scrolled myself into a hole, maybe with or without my realizing it, but sometimes those videos do pull me into it going, no, I know what you're doing, you fucking bitch. Stop it. I can hold my own attention back. Thank you very much.
I don't know if I'm better or worse because I'm not actually on TikTok, but I will go to Reddit where they repost the TikToks.
Mm-hmm. Like you're on like Twitter and Reddit more, and a lot of that kind of gets filtered through different channels on both of those platforms.
I will hastily correct you because I am not on Twitter. I deleted my account of 12 years because I just thought, I don't need this in my life.
That's fair.
There's some things I do need in my life, and like the beehive of Nazis is not what I need in my life right now.
Understandable.
The Nazi hive.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, still a better like and more accurate name than X.
Yeah. No, I get any notifications about, well, what's going on Twitter today from Ian, who's doom scrolling there for me, so I don't have to.
Cool.
And I doom scroll on TikTok for him.
It was already a bad time because you know that that tweet that was like, you can go on Twitter and say, I like pancakes, and somebody else will say, so you hate waffles, and you're like, that's a different sentence. It had flanderized itself so far.
Gosh, diddly dang it.
It means to start out somewhat normal and become a parody of itself within, a short amount of time.
Gotcha.
Origin is like our boy, Ned
character,
Flanders.
Ned Flanders.
And it just got to a point of like, somehow we've decided that, Avatar isn't very good if you look at it from like a Marxist perspective, and I just thought maybe we're thinking too hard about it. Exactly. Conversations like that, like where I was like, life only has so much time, and discourse can't take up too much of it. Sometimes we just have to say a good thing is pretty good, and not try to like regurgitate and like reconstruct it in ways that it was never intended. Anyways, we're a media podcast.
Skibidi dude.
That sentence broke me.
Is it that or the Benadryl that finally kicked in?
It's probably a little bit of both. I'm like, what does watching Avatar from a Marxist perspective?
Did
Aang not like share the wealth enough? They're poor. They have no money. He's a nomad.
Look, I'm just throwing words together, like the word salad that I would find on Twitter on the daily, and just think to myself, I don't need this anymore. Like to be able to cut something off after like being around it 11 years, it's not always easy to do, but let me tell you, it's pretty easy to leave a place once the Nazis start coming back. That's it's a pretty easy way to say, all right, fellas,
it's
good
been
fucking
fun.
luck. Yeah, pretty easy.
Unrelated.
But
a question I figure we should at least pose.
Okay.
Has anyone actually ever tripped balls, seen the Hat Man on Benadryl before?
I've heard about that.
What do you mean? He's right there.
My dude.
That's Jerome.
That's he likes to be called Jeremy.
Yeah.
He hands me things. Sometimes they're knives, and he tells me to stab my family, but they live far away, so it's like I can't.
By the time you start walking, you're only like 5 miles out of town, and it's this has run its course.
You're in LA, so like it's not meant to be walkable anyway.
Right,
it's just a lot.
Right.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna take the train that like everybody is like, who takes the train? And I'm like, I took the train once and it was pretty good. And they were like, no, it wasn't. And I was like, okay.
Clang, clang,
it's not
clang,
that bad.
goes the
It's not that
train.
bad if you're going east. If you're going like towards downtown, then like, you know, good luck. But like going east is fine.
Yeah. I did the
East or west?
Now you know what I said.
You are quite aware. He's on Benadryl, and yet he's still less
He's
goofy
still as
than
sharp
you.
as ever.
Yeah, Jeremy
Yeah.
told me east.
Gerald keeps him in line.
We've named this guy 3 things.
Well, it's kind of hard to tell what his name is exactly.
He has a lot of aliases that he goes by. He wants to keep a low profile.
I have not seen any hypothetical hat men, hat women, or hat otherwise agendered hats.
Agender.
I've never gotten that deep
Zooted?
in the danger zone. Yeah, I've never
been
gotten
that zooted.
I've never gotten that zooted on Benadryl, but I did have an edible one time, and it took me 30 minutes to make a hot chocolate.
A hot chocolate.
Was it actually still hot by the time you had it?
Yeah, mostly due to the fact that 20 of those minutes were me staring at the microwave and going, wow, this is taking a while, without realizing I hadn't turned the microwave on.
Kaylee's
dead. She's gone.
I just imagine you staring at it, but like making the microwave noise in your mind, and just like
I was just going to myself. I was just like, I don't have all day, man.
I desperately want to transition that to talking about playing Lethal League with you guys for the first time, but we have to get to our main topic.
Lethal what? Lethal
League,
Company?
Lethal Company. Lethal League is a different video game. Sorry.
Another time.
Lethal League of Legends.
Lethal League's a real video game. It's cool as shit.
Lethal League.
Anyway.
Shut up. Stop making fun of me. Jerome said you have to stop.
I'm sorry, Jerome. I could do better, Jerome, I swear.
So in my ever pleased to my friends to say, hey, I don't like scary movies, they said, hey, let's watch some more scary movies.
How about 3?
How about Nope, Get Out, you're watching scary movies with us. Oh,
hey!
damn.
King of transitions.
Genius.
He's fucking zooted and he's still killing it.
Hell
Oh,
yeah, dude. Anyway. We watched are people calling it this? The Jordan Peele trilogy?
Pretty much.
No. They haven't said that. He has all the clout in the world.
Patented.
Yeah.
The Jordan Peele
I've
trilogy.
heard people refer to it as such, even though like technically it's not a trilogy story. It's just the like, and the man has produced and been involved in the production of so many other movies, but for some reason like his main 3 are just kind of like floated around casually as the Jordan Peele trilogy, even though like they're not connected. Us and Get Out maybe exist roughly in like the same world, vague idea, but
both
like,
in America. And that's about it.
It's not a like this is a continuous story told in 3 parts. No.
Nope.
Two of them are in California.
Yeah.
That
yeah, but every story we're telling is in California.
I
Whoa.
don't think Get Out was California because
you're wrong.
Was it like Northern California?
Nope, you're wrong. It's
Get the fuck out! You're having too much fun.
How many times are we gonna say nope?
No, Get Out is in upstate New York.
Yeah.
Correctly.
I was just like, I don't think anybody in California has a pair of like hunting jodhpur pants or whatever they call them.
Dude, you go 20 miles outside of any metro area, all of the U.S. looks the same, bro.
This is true. It's just, are there trees or not? Colorado, no trees. California, some trees, and then big trees, and then like the forests.
What natural disasters are you okay with? Earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes. I can tell you exactly where you're from. Snow.
Wildfires, yada yada.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we watched some combination of these 3 movies, each of us.
Not to mention the secret fourth part of the trilogy, which is just the middle section of Toy Story 4, as Jordan Peele's character creates unhinged ways to come up with escape plans that may or may not involve murder.
I think Kaylie's the only one.
Movie.
I think Kaylie's the only one who watched that part.
Are we 100% sure that Kaylie's not on Benadryl right now?
No.
I'm not 100% certain.
Her secret is she's always on.
Too.
Kaylee's always on lean. Like consistently.
Sleepy girl mocktail season.
No wonder I'm so eepy all the time.
But yeah, I was sitting down when we suggested this, in between
not
bouts
standing
of,
up.
Not standing up. Absolutely. I was too scared. And between bouts of being horrified, I was thinking about what can we say about these movies that hasn't already been said, which is hard.
Yeah, that's the challenge of I felt daunted by this, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's been so much. Jordan Peele's a fucking amazing storyteller because my man doesn't, like, he throws some weird shit against the wall. And he throws a lot at you, but it doesn't feel like you're just being bombarded. It feels so well crafted into the story that you get hit with the weird and the like, shit, this is a lot at once. And then you get a break and things are just happening. And you kind of forget, like, that you felt overwhelmed for a little while, or you're still trying to figure out how to put the pieces together in your mind. Like, he peaks and valleys very, very nicely in such a way. I don't know. You can take it all in and then still keep asking questions afterwards.
I think you're coming at that from the perspective of like pacing and like writing and story, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the same applies across all three of these movies with tone. Like there's ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows with like horror and tension and comedy at the same time. Like that's kind of threw me off. Now, the funny thing is the first one I saw of these, I kind of saw them in reverse order. I saw Nope in theaters a couple years ago, and I was surprised because for as heavy on sci-fi and horror as it is, like it's a story about a predatory, gigantic alien that eats people. And there's just small moments throughout the entire thing that are really funny.
Yeah.
like there's just even like the first time that the main character sees the alien, he just looks up at it and he goes, nope. And he just he turns his horse around and he like runs away from it.
Sidebar,
and it's so fucking funny.
Jordan Peele can go fuck himself. In every movie they go, get out. They look like us. Nope. It's like, just roll credits, motherfucker. You're not funny. You are funny.
But he's
very funny.
It's like that Family Guy bit that's just like, this truly was Superman for a world of peace. And
exactly,
it's just like, they're getting a little, they're trying a little hard with this. But like, I noticed that with Us as well, you know, it's a very like tense build toward, you know, the reveal of it being, you know, us, but not just us, but them. But it's also got its own like humorous moments, which I don't know if in that particular movie, for me personally, it works as well.
No, it doesn't.
I think of the three, I think structurally and like tonally, Us is the weakest. And I think it's just a little high concept in what it's trying to say.
I agree in that I haven't seen Nope. I don't know what Nope's about. Between the
aliens two and consumerism,
aliens.
The media's perception of things.
But not only that, it's about spectacle and like, do we respect things that are beyond our power, specifically animals?
Yeah. Which is cool and will lead to something I want to talk about later.
Yeah.
But between Us and Get Out, I agree that Us kind of like narratively is weaker.
Yeah.
But like Us also, I think, is this weird line between narrative and cinematography and acting. The acting is beyond spectacular in all three.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But like I think cinematography wise, presentation wise, Us is statistically significantly better than Get Out. I don't want to say like categorically amazing because it's like comparing a 95 with a 98. You know what I mean?
Well, I think part of that is I watched some behind the scenes stuff for Get Out specifically, and Us is kind of its own unique thing. Like, it's part of it is based on, the time period with the 80s that it's set in, but Get Out is a specific reference with many of the choices that it makes from both storytelling and cinematography, in that it derives from Rosemary's Baby and the Stepford Wives.
Yes.
Because Jordan Peele's idea was to essentially recreate those messages, but rather than being contextualized about women and feminism, it was about Black people and the way that, white people value their bodies, but not their personhood. Like, which I think makes a lot of sense why he made it, especially in, 2016, 2017 and everything like that. Like his movies are, for the most part, really a response to the times that he's living in. Like Get Out, you can obviously see a lot of the influence there from our cultural timeline, with that really being a really big push with like the Black Lives Matter movement and people being much more conscientious about these issues in our culture. Whereas something like Nope, he talked about how it was influenced a lot by COVID and
of course
kind of like doom scrolling, in that we can't look away from the awful thing that's happening. Like it's interesting like how fresh each of them feel when they come out, because it's like a response to a very recent item.
He just like me for real.
Shut up.
Whereas
I'll fight you right now.
Us isn't as direct in its messaging and what it's about. Like I've read interpretations of it, and it's kind of it's a lot headier.
Sure.
I'm the Black person in the room.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to say the controversial stuff. I think
Bodio's opinions are always correct because it's still Black History Month.
What? Yeah, baby.
It's your time, baby. Go off.
It's time.
It's time.
It's your government mandated time.
I have Black History Month in Juneteenth. That's it. That's all I get. This is mine.
Don't forget Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, that was last month. We missed that one.
We're past it.
But I think personally, though, the categorization is there. I'm sure it's there. I think people read too deeply into Us.
I will say Us feels the most like it's trying to say stuff in the way that Get Out kind of is, but also I think it's a little more Jordan Peele being like, I just want to make a freaking horror movie.
And I'd lean more on the second part, right? Because Us is in this weird position where it's like, there's commentary, there's like the version of ourselves that we present, and then the version of ourselves that we can't present. The evil one is the dark side, and it's our mirror, and it's trying to kill us. Right. But it's like, yeah, but the white folks have that too. Right. Then you get into the plot where it's like it's actually a government conspiracy. Spoilers. It's actually a government conspiracy, and the government made all these clones, and why they mimic people doesn't make a lot of sense. Why was the kid version of her in a place where she didn't live, just on vacation.
But here, but never freaky pier fairgrounds.
Yeah, but was like also left there for 30 years, and then when they finally came back, she's like, and now I'm free. It's like, what happened? Once you dig into the plot of that movie, it's a little messy, but it's fucking great to watch. So just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
No, I remember seeing that in theaters and going, I don't completely understand like all the connective tissue and through lines, but
there's a lot of
parts
holes.
that like there's still some holes that I was like, what? Wait, what? Huh? But like as it was happening, I was fucking scared shitless in that theater. Jesus Christ. Oh God. And this was one of those movies that I remember like I was not and still am not really a horror movie person. I'm held against my will to be one because I live with a horror scholar. But I remember seeing this in the theater going, I'm into this. Like I'm invested in this. I like it. But just as a person with anxiety, I typically don't like horror movies because I know usually you're putting me in a dark room and you're cranking the jack in the box and waiting until it goes pop goes the weasel to scare the person with a jump scare who already has anxiety and jumps at things that shift in a room. So like the fact that this still kept like feeding out mystery while also providing a lot of really good scares. I was like, all right, I hate this, but I'm into it. Tell me more about these creepy shadow people.
Which leads to what I was saying was like, yeah, the allegory is there because I think everybody writes from their lived experiences, and I think it's impossible for somebody who's Black in America to not include that stuff in their storytelling.
Right.
Yep.
But again, to be like, this speaks out for so much. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's just a cool story.
You might see that in it. Yeah. Like, it might be there. I don't necessarily know if it's fully it's the same kind of vibes artistically.
It's the same kind of vibes when people try to pull stuff out of Lord of the Rings and be like, this is from Tolkien's experiences in the World War. And I'm like, yeah, maybe, but I don't think he was... Yeah, I don't think he was going for allegory there. Jordan Peele might have. I don't know. I didn't watch any of his interviews.
C.S. Lewis was going for allegory. We don't really know if Tolkien exactly was going for allegory.
What if the lion was Jesus?
What if all the brown people lived in the desert and they were evil? Thanks, C.S. Lewis.
Okay.
No, Tolkien did that too.
Yeah, Tolkien was just like, yes, the orcs are going to be ugly and brutish like the people of the Orient, and it was just Tolkien, no.
That might have just been the early part of the century. Though,
yeah, no, Gibby, a little lore for Lord of the Rings heads. There are dark-skinned people in the realm of Lord of the Rings. We don't see them because they live far away and they all worship Sauron.
Yep.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
It turns out that authors who were born in the 1800s might not have very good views about people who aren't white.
Might be a little weird.
What? Us? Okay, so here's the thing. Like, us, from some of the interpretations, like, if you want to read into allegory of it, it's, from my understanding, less about, like, racial allegory and more economic. And I feel like it's harder for that to come across in a story because we don't focus on that as much as a culture. Like, despite how many people are, like, hey, billionaires, bad, like online constantly, that it's not as present in, like, off the internet culture.
Yeah. It's really hard to tell a story about the haves and the have-nots without explicitly stating these are the haves and these are the have-nots. And the have-nots aren't trying to murder people.
Yeah. Like a criticism of an economic structure that says to have these people in luxury, which, they own a lake house, guy can just buy a boat. Like everybody's decked out with really
that
fancy
boat don't
tech
work.
And all that.
And you leave that man alone. He was wearing a Howard sweatshirt. That's an educated brother.
Yes,
he is. The liberal artists is very supportive of Howard University and all HBCUs.
Yes,
Howard University, extra crispy. Liberal artists approved.
But for some interpreters of the movie to say, like, you cannot have people in luxury without people in suffering. It's just like, that's a little hard to come across to a general audience, unless you're just like, hey, bad.
Especially when your main character, especially when your main characters in American media are brown bodies.
Yep.
That makes it extra hard.
This is what I'm talking about. So many like high concept ideas in this movie.
There's things working against it that are exciting because we do see the differences, like not just the fact that they're both well off, but what are the differences within personalities that may or may not kind of suggest where the flaws are. Maybe it's not necessarily just about having versus you not being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But then we kind of get muddled of then like, well, then what do we make of the others, the clones? If the othering is not about race and skin color in this sense, like this is kind of where we start muddying. What is it about? Yeah, like what is it about these clones, these others that others them from the rest of the people, beside the fact that they're trying to kill and replace them, that might set a little tension in the mood. But
the thing is, the tough part is that even with part of it, like you have to have a little bit heavy, a little bit heavy explaining. Yeah, because if you didn't, let's say you showed up to the theater 3 minutes late. And you missed the whole thing about Hands Across America, which was just showing a commercial.
All of a sudden, a significant portion of the movie doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Exactly. Like it's one of those things that you have to show it to explain it for them to understand it. And if you miss it, sorry, you're not going to get why they're doing this. Like I think that's partly what makes this one, in my eyes, weaker. Like you said, the 95 versus the 98. I feel like the other two, they do a better job of showing and not telling.
Let me be clear. I think in spite of this stuff, I think Us is the 98 and Get Out is the 95.
Oh, okay.
I enjoyed Us significantly more. Not significantly more. Statistically significantly more than Get Out.
I think despite the like sort of plot hole and things that like aren't completely resolved, and maybe I just I've only watched Us like 1.5 times, like the once in theaters and then kind of like another half of just clips.
You also watched Nope, correct?
Yes, Nope I've seen before. Like that was the most recent. But like maybe Us, because Get Out is one of those that you watch it, and if you have known nothing about the movie, then suddenly you finish it and you go, oh my God, and you rewatch it and you find things in there like subtextually or just kind of like nods, hints, all these little things pointing the signs towards the ending that
we're taking bodies.
Oh shit. Like it starts to make more sense. So maybe if I just sit in a room and watch Us another 5 or 10 times, maybe some of these holes close up a little bit more. But it is one of those that like I felt so invested watching because I was all like it felt like Jordan Peele just dumped a puzzle box on a table and walked away and left people to just put the pieces together for like most of the puzzle, like the middle's kind of there, but like you're trying to figure out where the hell else anything goes.
Are you telling me you don't start from the corners like a normal American?
Oh no, I do.
I start at the bottom. I start at the bottom.
Yeah, you find all the edge pieces first.
There's still some corners and edge pieces there, Bo.
I guess so.
That's okay, but you're on thin ice, pal.
But you just don't know where in the frame it goes. Is this even part of the same puzzle box, or is this a different kit? I don't know. Like that's how that movie feels like reflecting on it. That I would like to know. Like I haven't gone off and like researched like because there are people that are like
everybody
obsessive
has something to
over
say.
These movies frame by frame analysis that I'm just like somebody's probably done the digging on this one that I would love to know more about the lore and the logic of that world and what are the things that we missed along the way because
how did they all get scissors?
Much.
How
it's the only nice thing they ever got. A golden pair of scissors.
Everybody just has like a gold pair of scissors.
Yeah,
and
why
like
they have the gold?
Jumpsuit.
Why that's the only nice thing they've ever gotten?
That's 300 million pairs of scissors. Like that's 300 million red jumpsuits. Hey.
In our non-visual medium, Kaylee currently has a brass pair of scissors, which makes me know she's got those fake Jordan ass scissors in her hands. Dollar store. Dollar store.
My sewing scissors. These are
got
like $30.
Those name brand ass, those fake ass, great value ass.
How about some nice ASMR?
Ooh, yeah. I don't know if the mic's picking that up at all.
The mic definitely is, but Discord's
yeah,
noise
it's
filter.
coming up through mine. Yeah.
So one of the things I do when I'm having a bad time is I disassociate.
Take Benadryl.
Different kind of bad time.
Oh, it gets either much better or much worse.
Is
it's a gamble.
I disassociate and I start really analyzing the situation as a coping mechanism. And one of the things I noticed, and I'm glad that we brought up Nope, because I didn't realize that was a monster movie. So Nope is typically, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the vibe I got is Nope is kind of the one that people say it's the weakest pound for pound,
which makes no sense to me because I feel the exact opposite.
Well, it leads me to something I was thinking about, because when you step back from all these movies and analyze plot, with Nope being the exception, there aren't monsters for real in these movies. Like, it's always people backed. Yeah. It reminds me of
people
a quote.
Are the monsters.
Well, yeah, right. It reminds me of a quote. I think I mentioned this on one of our other episodes, and I'm gonna paraphrase because I'll butcher the quote.
Hell is other people.
Very nice, but not what I was going for.
Bodio or Jean-Paul Sartre, you decide.
One of the creators, one of the lead developers for Resident Evil was being interviewed, and they were talking about the enemies in the game, the monsters in the game. And one of the ones they brought up in Resident Evil 4 and its remake, which came out last year in 2023, one of the most iconic villains in that is in the beginning of a game. It's a big ass dude with a chainsaw, and he's got a mask on, and he's horrifying because he's coming for that ass. He's coming, and he's got a chainsaw. Yeah,
he will chop off your ass.
And one of the things that the developer said that was super interesting was he was talking about, so we messed around with a lot of designs for this enemy specifically. Originally, he was a monster, something like a minotaur or something. He still had the chainsaw and he was coming for it. But, one of our philosophies is what makes something in horror truly scary is the presence of intelligence, right? So a human with intention is always going to be scarier than a monster, right? So we still put a bag over his head because obviously his physical presence needs to be scary, but it's like, this is a guy and he's coming after you. It's the same, and I feel like the same philosophy comes in. I started thinking about other horror movies, and it's like, okay, what are horror things that I'm aware of? Where the scary thing isn't a person, it's like a monster. My mind immediately goes to Junji Ito and all of his stuff. yo, here's a shark with his intestines out, and also it has spider legs. Good luck, brother.
This hole is made for me.
Exactly right.
Yeah, we make a lot of jokes because it is scary, but goddamn if that balloons one wasn't fucking terrifying.
Horrifying.
Hate it. No, thank you.
It's like, is that scarier than fucking Joel Osteen and his wife, surgeon wife, hypnotizing you, taking your brain out and popping an old dude in there? Probably not in
the
reality.
Guy saying,
right?
I'm not racist, but
hey, bro, those biceps, those are mine now. You know what I mean?
Okay, so here's my thoughts on it. You're absolutely right that it's like, despite the fact that Us has so many like high concept things going on, it is at the core of it, still people that are like,
it's people
that it's us that are like the primary antagonistic force and everything. So Nope very much is a deviation from the first two movies we've mentioned.
Yeah.
But I will say that so much of the danger is caused by people.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Jordan Peele said that like a lot of the movies that he watched when he was developing this and like served as inspiration were things like Jurassic Park or King Kong, in that, you know, the arrogance of man that thinks he can control something that is way beyond his power, and, you know, the power of spectacle versus danger, you know. It's not directly where you have a human villain, but they are poking the bear.
And I think that's extremely necessary, because what I mean to say is, and let me throw some more examples at you. I think the presence of intention is more horrifying than natural selection. Whereas like a bear coming after you is one thing. A guy in a mansion sending a bear after you is a whole nother level, right? And expounding that onto other pieces of horror, Frankenstein by modern day isn't all that at all scary, right? But when you find out, you know, you add the factor of the monster now has knowledge, it has intention, and is coming for Dr. Frankenstein. If you look at something like The Exorcism, where it's like, or The Exorcist rather, it's like, I don't know, man, it's a fucking demon, but it's here and it wants us to suffer. I don't get it. It's not just a horrible thing. It's like, hey, man, I'm here to fuck with you guys. It's like, why? And then you even expand that even further to stuff in the Lovecraftian field, where it's like, there's intention here. You can't fathom what it is.
You will never fathom what it is.
But you do fathom the little motherfuckers in the robes being like, get him, get him, get him, get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So if you're telling me that you give the sharks and the Sharknado the ability to plan, it suddenly becomes a lot scarier.
But is it not?
Yeah, fair.
Like if the sharks were like, we're coming after Kurt Angle.
If the sharks were controlling the tornado, fuck yeah.
It's like we're not a natural phenomena. I saw Kurt Angle. I'm coming after him. It's like, oh no.
We want him specifically. Fuck this man.
That just displays to me that they're not like intellect driven, because who in their right mind would try to take down Kurt Angle?
He was the best wrestler on the planet for like 7 years.
He will put you in an ankle lock even if you don't have ankles.
Have you seen that man do a shooting star press? It's insane.
That man won 2 gold medals with a broken
freaking neck.
I'm going to insert the Kurt Angle theme right here.
I thought we would get through one episode without talking about fucking wrestling.
No chance.
Absolutely. But, that's what you got. All right.
I'll say this about Nope. You're right in that it is a monster, but it's more intelligent than your typical, like, a bear in the woods. This is more like a bear that knows that you're afraid of clowns, so it's going to
and so the bear is putting makeup on and putting on a silly little hat and riding a unicycle.
He doesn't have like a graduate degree or anything, or
he didn't go to clown college.
The contempt of capitalism or anything, but like like Jean Jacket as the alien becomes known, like. You
remember those like paid like television like commercial ad things you get on Nickelodeon, like the fushigi balls and things like that?
Sure.
There was one for this like balloon floating disc like saucer thing. That's
one.
what this thing is.
No.
It's a big fucking one of those.
Yeah, but at the same time, it has like the tendencies of a tiger.
Yeah.
Where it is an ambush predator, and it does specific things that are like revealed later on. Like, for instance, only when the Best Buy like Geek Squad member comes around and goes, "Hey guys, that cloud hasn't moved in like 2 days," do they realize that it's kind of like Predator. This is more than a bear hunting you.
Yeah.
This is a bear with like some little glasses that are hunting you.
So what you're telling me is Nope exists on a spectrum somewhere between Alien and Shaun of the Dead.
I would say somewhere like that. I almost think like the monster's intellect is like slightly below Predator, but like a little bit above Xenomorph because
but my dude is fucking aware and he knows when he's being fucked with, and that's what pisses it off even more.
And more so when something doesn't respect its power. Like the massacre that occurs at like the local cowboy theme park happens because like a character who's like, I was a sitcom star and my chimpanzee sidekick killed everybody on set except for me, which means I'm a special person. For him to go, see that giant alien that eats everybody? I'm gonna include that in my theme park real quick. Gonna have my Wild West show with the Martian men, like. And for it to be disrespected like that, I think that's part of why we spend so much time of the digestion. We see so much of that. It could have just happened off screen, and then later we get
that was the one part of this movie that I remember being like, nope.
And then like later on we get Slayer's raining blood going on. Like, we could have just like had that. But
horrifying. Loved like the implication in that as like a horror shot, but like didn't need the rest before that.
But the fact that we have like the most claustrophobic scene I've witnessed since fucking Battle of the Bastards and Game of Thrones, like the most claustrophobic scene that had so much design like in mind when they came to like creating the sounds of this creature and displaying its malice as it consumes. I will admit it's not as scary as the fucking brain surgeon guy or Lupita Nyong'o without eyebrows, but like I think there's still something to be said for like it's almost eldritch in a way. I feel like that's a better comparison for it.
Something that I had seen recently, and I'm blanking on their handle now, and I feel really bad because they're sort of like an armchair, but a reliable armchair film scholar and
a reliable
like,
armchair. It's been in the house for a while, but we all love it.
Yeah, but like he knows what he's talking about. He makes some interesting points. A creator on TikTok, was talking about like because a lot of people look at Nope as the sort of like it is out of Jordan Peele's like main three movies, it is the monster movie. It is a look very specifically because we keep coming back to animals in the entertainment industry and like exactly these Jurassic Park man's hubris kind of ideas. But he pointed to an idea that honestly is kind of interesting, I think, where Nope and La La Land tell the same story of Hollywood from two very different perspectives.
Did Nope also try to steal the Oscar from Moonlight?
Did Nope steal jazz?
Jury's still out. But like La La Land being this romanticized, like, oh, these people that fall in love while they're trying to make it in Hollywood and they don't work out, but like they're taking off in their careers and like that's the sacrifice to make it and do what you want to be a star. Whereas here is sort of like through a fantastical romanticization of the horror of the industry is focused entirely on people that are like, it is deliberately, we keep talking about like, this is Hollywood. This all happens outside Hollywood. This ranch that is being used to film on is constantly being turned into Western towns and like it is a film location that it doesn't exist really as a real place anymore. It's just what's needed for the movies. But the place and the people are all on the outside of that system and yet are being used and consumed and dragged into the rest of this, whether they want to or not.
Without credit usually being attributed to them.
On top of the fact that there's this idea, there's a lot of focus on viewing, on cameras, on reflections, on the realization that an entity sees itself or recognizes itself and what does it do when it sees that. I really like the take, honestly, that Jean Jacket is more of this like, like it's the consumer and it wants nothing but to just eat what is real, what is what is tangible, what is human, and it just keeps coming for more and more and more, and trying to be, when it tries to be tricked by feeding fake bullshit, it gets angrier and comes after what is real instead. But there is an interesting idea though of like, is rather than just about like media consumption, is it just kind of a look at how we as a human entity interact with things? Because the idea that that an animal goes fucking berserk, the horse loses its cool when it sees itself as a reflection, the chimpanzee fucking loses it seeing itself on camera, seeing itself on screen, and has a moment of wild, unfiltered anger, and Jean Jacket as well, when it realizes that it's being filmed, when it's being observed, that humans are so now dead set, whether it's watching movies, TV, you're just online, you're reading news, you are looking at videos and photos of people, you get to say, do, think, whatever the fuck you want to with that, with very little ramification most of the time, until somebody flips the camera on you, and then you have to recognize yourself seeing that, saying something about that. And usually people don't respond well to being turned on in such a way. When people get called out for being a dick because they're posting shitty comments on Anonymous, they don't tend to take well to that.
You know,
like,
you know what that makes me think of is like combining like the things that we've been talking about, as well as like Bo mentioning like it's making something with part of your own perspective and everything. That's a lot of ground that we've covered in the last couple of minutes just on like this one movie. And I think the thing that I really appreciate about Jordan Peele is he draws from his own experience, like whether as like a black man, a man in America, or like a man in the Hollywood system and everything. But he never tells the most obvious story.
yes.
Like he'll tell a story that has like direct roots to our world, but he'll add so much like depth to it and like things that we don't normally think about, you know? Like his perspective as a storyteller is just so rich because he like has a concept and then he'll go a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper with it. Like I hadn't even thought about all of that with the different interpretations of Nope. Like I like something like Get Out is interesting because it from a lot of people's interpretations of it and his commentary on it, it is about racism, yes.
Yeah.
But it's about racism in a quote unquote post-racial society, like, which is not a story I see all that often. Or like us being about like the suffering of the unseen people and how that will like lash out against us, you know? He'll take like a concept and just add that unique twist
add a
to
little
it.
spice.
And also he'll get the character to say the name of the movie.
Angry.
Which is where Bo takes his points off. It's graded on a scale of, all right, you start at 100.
You can only lose points
of anger.
How far do you fall from
however
grace?
many points of anger I get about the title being said in dialogue. That's how it goes.
Me
down.
sitting in front of the screen, I get my auditing papers out. I'm like, all right, it's time. How did you
He's got
do?
the clipboard. He's got the nice ballpoint
I'm like
pen.
licking the top of it, dude. I'm ready to go.
He's got that red pen that he uses specifically
A
for like,
highlighter.
Through.
Hell
Ooh.
yeah.
Ooh, like you've just got like a holster, like a old west gunfighter, but with
just
like
with
the
office
red
utensils.
pen and like exactly. He's got pocket protectors. He's strapped with the pocket protectors
Strapped
up.
up. On that note, that's been this episode.
We've lost the plot a little bit.
And we're not
A little
bringing
bit.
it
Hey,
back.
so did us, and nobody really complained.
Hey.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Anyway, that's been this episode of the Liberal Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Follow us on our socials. social singular. I keep making that mistake.
Hey, soon to be YouTube. Soon to be
YouTube. It's coming. We keep saying it's happening, and we promise we're actually talking about doing things.
We actually figured out how to do it. So
we're learning. We're evolving.
At Liberal Artist Pod on Instagram.
Yep.
Join us next time where we make horror-themed mocktails.
They all have Benadryl in them.
Hell yeah, dude. Peace.
The Liberal Artists Podcast premieres every other Thursday on your favorite podcasting platform. The show is hosted by Bodio, Kaylee Horowitz, and Andy Gibson. You can find the show at LibArtistsPod on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks to White Hot for performing the theme song Reflect, which can be found on freebeats.io. Now, I'm off to go exploring, and maybe, just maybe, I'll find a sheep that I can call my own. Good day.
Okay, I have one thing that I want to mention real quick.
Okay.
This is the quickest I've snapped into a into a stinger. But a couple weeks ago, when we were talking about Barry, Stephen Root, who plays Fugues in that, you said that I could only name movies with him that were made by Mike Judge, like him. Yeah. Okay. Well, guess what, pal?
He's in Nope.
He's in Get Out.
Yeah.
There we go. Finally.
Good job.
I can prove that I don't just have a 24-hour feed of Beavis and Butthead going on in my head now.
How can we be sure that you don't?
You can't. That's the scary part.
Editor Gibby, play a Beavis jump scare.
If I didn't have my headphones on, I'd do Cornholio, but whatever.
Okay.